Hey everyone, just want to say sorry for the delay on this video. I got a little sick over the past 5 or 6 days and I completely lost my voice, so I wasn't really able to work on the video. I wasn't really able to do any of the audio that I needed to do, so that's why there was a good chunk of a delay here. I got a negative test, so all good on that sense, and I'm doing a lot better now. And yeah, halfway through the video, you might notice that there's like a weird change in my voice kind of thing, and that's really all that was. All right, enjoy.
Hey everyone, it's been 3 months, so I figured now would be a great time to check out all the new pickups I got over that span. I'll also be opening 3 boxes from Retro Game Treasure in this video. All the games from Retro Game Treasure are going to be tested and opened up to make sure they're real. I'll also show current values for each game according to pricecharting.com. As for the regular pickups, I'm not going to go into as much detail as the vast majority of them are from thrift stores and a lot of them aren't in great condition. Just quick, before we get started, it should be noted that Retro Game Treasure did not send me anything for review. They have no idea that I'm making this video, they have zero influence over what I say. If you don't know what Retro Game Treasure is, it's a subscription service where they send retro video games right to your door. On the website, you can fill out a wide variety of preferences to help increase your chances of getting the games that you want. From the last time I did one of these videos, I actually updated my preferences quite a bit. I'm currently looking for most of the Nintendo cartridge-based games as well as GameCube games. I did take off original Game Boy as well as DS games because I wanted to increase my odds of getting more Super Nintendo and 64 games. I was also getting tired of receiving loose DS games, as they're kind of a pain to keep without a case. I have also noticed that filling out my wishlist has greatly improved the boxes, so that is something I highly recommend you do. Also, any cartridge game footage shown in this video was captured using the Retron 5. Anyways, I think that's it. Let's get started with the box for the month of January 2022. First off, this box was actually shipped before I updated my preferences. I changed them shortly after receiving this box, so this is my last one with the old preferences. So, let's see how we got to start off the year. Of course, there's always the obligatory bubble wrap. First, we have a Koopa plush. I do have it set that I'm okay with toys and collectibles, but only if they are official first-party items. This does have the official Nintendo seal on it, so all good there, but I don't really have a way of checking the value for this item. I can't imagine it's worth a lot though. As for its size, it's about the size of a regular can of Coke, and it feels surprisingly sturdy. Next, we have Buzz Lightyear of Star Command for the Game Boy Color. While there's no stains or anything on it, I can definitely tell this is a used game considering the amount of little tiny scratches on the label. Nothing that will personally bother me, as I'm not too picky about my older games. As long as the label is intact, I'm pretty happy. Next, we have Side Pocket for the original Game Boy. I'm not that big on pool games, I just feel like they never play very well. In real life, I love playing pool, I just don't think it's something that translates to video games very well. The label looks to be in great condition. There is some sticky residue on the back of the cartridge, but that can be easily cleaned off. And finally, for this box, we have Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, this is for the Game Boy Advance, and it looks to be in fantastic condition. This is a game I actually had when I was younger, but I don't remember what I did with it. I think I traded it into a used game store or something, so it's nice to have it now that I'm actively collecting again. And there we have the box for January 2022. Let's quickly go take them apart, make sure they're good, and check out the prices. All 3 of the games seem to have no issues that I can tell when it comes to authenticity. All of their circuit boards seem to be legit, and everything worked great. I didn't have to clean any of the pins, they all worked as soon as I tested them. Just so you know, even though the box was set in January, I didn't check the prices until the recording of this video, so every price will be current as of March 24th, 2022. With that being said, Buzz Lightyear Star Command currently goes for $624 American or $784 Canadian. Side Pocket is at $1094 US or $1375 Canadian, and Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu is valued at $899 American or $1130 Canadian.
Now, let's take a quick glance at how all the games play. Buzz Lightyear was a frantic game. It just started me off as if I knew what was going on, and I did not. It did play fairly smooth after I got the hang of it though. Side Pocket was not very good. The graphics, the gameplay, just none of it was something that I was looking for. This is actually the game that made me want to take the original Game Boy off of my preferences. I know the system has a lot of games of similar quality, and I'd rather get something else. Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu worked pretty well, a 2D fighting game that could probably be pretty good for a handheld game. I personally wasn't very good at it though, probably because I'm not good at fighting games in general, but for testing purposes, I was good enough. Next, we have the box for February 2022. This box was a pain to get as the mail in my area had a lot of issues that month. I didn't end up getting it until after March 15th or so. I didn't even get it until after the box for March was already shipped. But I don't consider that a Game Treasure issue, more of a Canada Post issue. I only mention this because I reached out to Retro Game Treasure via Instagram and email, and they helped me solve the issue fairly quickly. That being said, to start off, we have another toy. This time, it's a Mario figure. Again, officially licensed, and it's made by Jax. The actual figure itself is about half the size of the Koopa toy they sent last month. While I am good with toys, I kinda hope this isn't gonna be a recurring thing. Next, we have Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl for the Game Boy Advance. The label looks to be in great condition, while the back is a little dirty, but that's something that can be cleaned rather easily. I'm not a big fan of the franchise, and I have no idea what style of game it is, so I am intrigued to see how it plays. Third, for the Super Nintendo, we have WWF Super WrestleMania. For those of you who don't know, I'm a pretty big wrestling fan, so this is a great add for my personal collection. The label does have some slight wear and tear, especially at the bottom, but it's still a rather small issue and something that I can personally look past. As someone who enjoys wrestling, but didn't play a lot of wrestling games other than 64 games, this is something that has always intrigued me. In fact, WrestleMania 38 just happened this past weekend, and I thought it was a really enjoyable show. I was actually really entertained by it. Next, we have another Dragon Ball Z game, this time for the Game Boy Color. We have Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors. I grew up a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but I never had this game, so it's a nice add to the collection. Both the case and label look to be in pretty good condition, so I'm actually pretty happy with it. Finally, to end the box, we have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer for the Nintendo 64. I actually had this game on the PC growing up, and I bought the remake on the PS4 not too long ago, but I always wanted to have this version in the collection. It looks to be in really good condition too. 5 items in this box, which I think is the most I've had in a single box before. After all the delivery issues I had with this box, it was definitely worth the wait. Next, let's take them apart and check out their current values. I'm really not expecting any issues with the games being fake. Usually I can tell right away when there's an issue with authenticity. But if you remember from one of my previous videos, they have sent me fake games before, so it's always better to check just to be sure. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description down below. As for the prices, the Pirates of the Caribbean game goes for $6.09 American or $7.65 Canadian. WWF Super WrestleMania for the Super Nintendo currently goes for $9.99 US or $12.55 Canadian. The Dragon Ball Z game on the Game Boy Color is valued at $17.18 American or $21.59 Canadian. And finally, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is priced at $7.62 US or $9.58 Canadian. Giving the games a quick test, Pirates of the Caribbean was more enjoyable than I was expecting. I wouldn't say it was a great game or anything, but I had very low expectations, even for just giving the game a test. Super WrestleMania, surprisingly, was not very easy to pick up and play. I'm sure lots of people grew up with the game, but considering I didn't, I definitely had some issues trying to get the characters to do recognizable moves. But the game worked perfectly fine. Legendary Super Warriors worked great and played nothing like I expected. I had no idea what style of game it was. I just knew it was a game that wasn't found very easily out in the wild. The colors popped, the music was good, but the gameplay made very little sense to me in the quick span of time that I set aside to test it. Star Wars Racer, on the other hand, I knew exactly what I was doing. This is a game that I put in a lot of hours into the other versions. The game looked great, sounded great, and worked great. I couldn't be happier with it. Moving on to the third box for the video, we have the box for the month of March 2022. During the filming of this unboxing, people actually started construction in the apartment right above me. I only mention that fact because there's very specific audio from this unboxing that I wanted to use, and I got super frustrated knowing the noise was actually going to be in the background of it. So hopefully I can edit the audio around that noise. But first, out of the box, we have Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. This is a classic game that I actually don't have in my collection, so it is nice to be able to add it in. At first glance, it does seem to have a decent amount of scratches on it, as well as some sticker residue, but that should clean off. But after moving it, I can clearly hear something rattling inside. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to check out when I go to open it up. Next, we have Disney's Tarzan for the Game Boy Color. I don't know much about the game, but typically licensed games aren't that good, so hopefully it plays alright. As for the case, it looks pretty good, but the label has a weird sticky spot on it, and it kind of accumulated a small amount of dirt, something that I'm sure I could clean off though. And finally, the last game for the box, we have Dragon Ball Z Super Sonic Warriors. The label for this game looks really good, and the case looks pretty good too. But there's a weird clicking sound whenever I hold it a certain way, so I'm going to have to open this one up as well and see what's going on with it. 3 months in a row, they sent me Dragon Ball Z games, which is something I'm completely fine with. As for the prices, Zelda 2 goes for $23.06 American or $29.66 Canadian. Although I know this particular cartridge isn't actually valued at that because the inside has a broken piece. But the loose value on price charting is still the best approximate price for it. Disney's Tarzan for the Game Boy Color goes for $6 American or $7.54 Canadian, and Dragon Ball Z Super Sonic Warriors is valued at $17.72 US or $22.27 Canadian. Giving the games a test, Zelda 2 had some issues. Because the piece was broken off, it had a hard time sitting in the right spot. The circuit board would actually move as I tried to put it into the system. After a few tries, it did work though. I'm probably going to have to super glue the piece back on or something like that. Tarzan ran really smooth and fast paced, but looked and sounded really bad. The sound had this weird buzzing sound whenever there was music. During transitions, it would go away. I also tested it on a Game Boy Color and the static sound was still there, although it wasn't nearly as bad. Super Sonic Warriors was by far the most enjoyable of the 3 Dragon Ball Z games they sent me, although I absolutely needed the tutorial, but it was definitely worth it. The game worked right away, I had no issues, it sounded great, looked great, and might have been the game that I had the most fun with during the testing. And there we have my 3 months from Retro Game Treasure, but we still have my regular pickups to go through. The vast majority of these are from thrift stores, and because there was a lot of snow in my area, I actually didn't go out to the stores too often during the winter. But I was still able to find a few games. Starting with the original Xbox, we have Azuric Rise of Parithia, Fusion Frenzy, and Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30. All of them are complete in box with the manuals. I captured this footage on the Xbox 360. I could have used the Xbox One, but putting in the Fusion Frenzy disc, it automatically downloaded it as if it was from Game Pass, so I used the 360 to make sure it was reading off of the disc. Next, we have Spider-Man 3, Legend of the Dragon, and Medal of Honor Rising Sun for the PS2. Spider-Man 3 is missing the manual, but the other two are both complete. Sony is notorious for making things difficult when it comes to capturing footage for their old systems. Due to their terrible backwards compatibility, I had to capture this footage by pointing my phone at the TV, so it's not great, but you can still see Legend of the Dragon playing and working just fine. For the PS3, we have Infamous, Soul Calibur 5, Sleeping Dogs, and Face Breakers. All 4 games are complete with manuals, but the case for Soul Calibur is pretty chipped and missing a big chunk of the corner. Just like for the PS2, I don't have a good way of capturing PS3 footage, which is actually why you don't see me do reviews of PS3 games for the channel. I just don't think the quality is up to par, but we can still see Face Breakers working just fine. Moving on to Nintendo, I found a decent amount of Wii games at the thrift store. So, first we have Rubik's World, Nerf N-Strike, and Namco Museum Remix. All three are complete with manual, but the case for Rubik's World really isn't looking very good. With stickers that refuse to come off, ripped plastic, and just a lot of general dirt, it's definitely the worst condition case I picked up during this span of time. Next, we have Prince of Persia Rival Swords, Iron Man, and Medal of Honor Heroes 2 for the Wii. If you remember from a previous pickups video, I found Iron Man 2, and now I found Iron Man 1. And even though the game isn't that great, I really had a fun time testing this. It is a shame that Iron Man was missing the manual, but the other two games are complete. All of these cases were pretty average. You can tell they were used games, but there's no major flaws with any of them. For the last batch of Wii games, I found Alice in Wonderland and Harry Potter The Deathly Hallows Part 1, and both were complete. As well as the only Wii U game I picked up, I found Nintendo Land. This is a game that I've been recommended countless times in the comment section of my Wii U video. I asked for game recommendations that use the gamepad in interesting ways, and this was by far the game that was mentioned the most, so I'm very happy to have found it. It's a shame there's no manual for it, but still, I'm very excited to have it in my collection. And the last thrift store pickup for this batch is Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords for the Nintendo DS, which came with the case and manual. Anytime I can find a cartridge in the wild with a case is a win in my book. I did also pick up 3 brand new games. I got Pokemon Legends Arceus and Kirby and the Forgotten Land for the Nintendo Switch, and Horizon Forbidden West for the PS4. I've already put in quite a lot of hours into all 3 of these games. I've been having an absolute blast with all of them. I did also find a Plants vs. Zombies comic book, which I thought was kinda cool. I'm a really big fan of the franchise. I also got one game from Limited Run Games delivered during this time frame. I got the collector's edition of Mega Man The Wily Wars. This is actually the Sega Genesis version that they created, and I actually haven't opened it yet, and I'm unsure if I'm going to. This might be something that I decide to keep sealed, but if I do decide to open it, I'll be sure to open it on camera so everyone can see what's inside. And there we have it, everything that I added to my collection during the first 3 months of 2022. While the thrift store and new games haul was a little lackluster when compared to the other videos, the amount of games that I got from retro game treasure boxes really helped make up for that in my mind. Moving forward, the snow is basically completely gone and people are going to do their spring cleaning. So it should be a good time for me to start heading back out to find some cheap games for me to share in the next video. Let me know down below some of the cool and interesting things you picked up so far this year, and if you want to see a video on any specific game that I picked up, just leave me a comment saying which one and I'll do my best to get to it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up, it really helps out a lot. Be sure to share the video with anyone who might enjoy it. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more video game related content. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Once again, sorry for the delay on the video and the voice change halfway through. My voice still doesn't actually sound right to me yet, but hopefully it'll be better for the next video.